For more information regarding the local impact of the Bay Area wildfires here in Cupertino, please visit cupertino.org/2020fires.
Hi, my name is Mark Brunton. I'm Operations Section Chief for CAL Fire Incident Management Team 3 here on the CZU Lightning. We'll go through the events for today. Again, we did a lot of work up in the North Zone in the Buchanan Park area. We're doing some more burnout operations, continuing that so that we can blacken in the line and reduce the fuel loading between the line that we've put in and the fire so that we can get some extinguishment in that area. It's a lot of work, a lot of very steep, very heavy fuels, and we're continuing work in that area, and we'll have to do so for the next few days to get control and containment in that area. The Highway 1 area corridor is looking really good. Again, a lot of mop up in that area. We've got the utility companies doing a lot of work there, as well as Caltrans working on the road to render it safe before it's going to be opened. And we still don't have any sort of estimated time when we're going to open that, but we are trying to accelerate the process so that we can open it soon. Down in Davenport, it's repopulated. There are some efforts in there to continue to extinguish any fire far up on the hillside. There have been some questions about some of the road access ways above that community and why are they still closed. And again, it's because we are continuing work in that area and also rendering it safe. There are a lot of hazards, but we are working on, as soon as we can do so, we'll be opening up those roadways. We don't have a time that exactly when we can do that, but we're pushing as far as we can so that we can repopulate that area as soon as possible and open up those access points. South end of the fire is looking really good. Going up the Highway 9 corridor, it's continuing to look good day by day. We have a lot of good line put in, a lot of good mop up behind a lot of the structures, and every day we're getting closer to being able to get to the point where we can repopulate Boulder Creek. We're having a lot of good work and efforts in there. We are still getting some rollouts. We are getting the smokes popping up because of the weather is starting a process of warming and drying. We're starting to get a northwest push of wind, although albeit really light today, but moving forward through the rest of the week, we're going to see a little bit stronger wind pattern, which will again dry out the atmosphere, and we'll see more of those smokes popping up. And as we repopulate, we have more eyes out there that are seeing that. Calls for service, we're going out and we're extinguishing those as we find them. So we're just dealing with that on a regular basis throughout this firefight. Out in Bonnie Doon, again, a lot of work being done there. Just was out there just this afternoon, and there's a tremendous effort by the utility companies to reestablish not only power, but communications and the other necessities for that community. We want that established prior to opening up to moving people in, as well as rendering the area safe from any falling trees, ash pits, and other hazards, so that when a person returns, that it's not only safe, but they can go back into their homes, they have power, they're not in the dark, they have the ability to communicate outside so that if there was another emergency that we can either advise them to get out if we have to evacuate, if that were a case, or for them to call for help via 911 for any sort of need for medical emergency or anything of that nature. So that's why we spend the time and keep people out a little bit further until those utilities are established so that when they do move in, that they're a little less inconvenienced, although they've been inconvenienced for the past couple weeks or so. In the roadways, we're still getting those opened up in some of the areas, and that's a continuing process. Our damage inspection is somewhere between 95 and 100% being completed. Once that's completed, then we'll have full information as to the amount of structures damaged or lost, and that is very important. That will also then move on for the county. So that when you start getting into the recovery process, the rebuilding process, that the county has that and they can start looking at ways to expedite the recovery and rebuilding process in that area. Our air program, we've been able to fly our copters today, but again, it was limited because of the weather. Had a little bit longer duration today. We're able to drop quite a bit of water in the support of our suppression activities, both in the north and throughout. So it's going to be ongoing as the weather gets better throughout the rest of the week. We're going to fly more missions, longer missions, so that we can support that operation. Overall, again, another day closer to being done with this and for people to resume their normal lives. We are looking closely at the repopulation elements for the remainder of those communities. We are taking that seriously, but again, we don't want to do so prematurely, and we want to do so in an orderly and efficient fashion. So I would say in the coming days, we're going to see definitely more repopulation and get folks back at home and back to normal.
Chief Beth from next door wants to know, anyone keeping an eye on the hot spots and fuses on Fistulera Ridge around the few houses that remain? Will we have to wait for the whole grid to be up before repopulating?
So yeah, we are watching and maintaining, looking for hot spots. We do have patrols because again, huge area, 85,000 plus acres. For us to have a fire engine sitting at every individual structure is literally impossible with the resource we have. But we do patrol, we do monitor throughout the day, every day. We are staffing the line 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But again, we're spread out over an enormous area. So we are checking on that. We are taking care of those hotspots. Like I mentioned before we repopulate, what we want to do is we want to make sure that the infrastructure is there for power, water, and all those necessities before just randomly moving people in. So that's the direction we're moving, and yes, until we do that, we would not really consider repopulation.
And Patty from Facebook wants to know, she says, I keep asking but can't get an answer about the Highway 935 area. We have water, electricity, and are miles from 236, but have been evacuated for 2 weeks. Why can't we get back in while residents in more dangerous areas can?
Correct, and we are looking at that. That particular area is on our radar. That could be something we'll be seeing in the next couple days, if not sooner. But one of the issues regarding that is an access point. So by reopening it, repopulating it, it kind of opens Pandora's box, if you will, as far as other access points to the more dangerous parts of the fire. So although you may not be directly impacted, the fact that it is a main access route to some of those more dangerous areas, unfortunately, because of the way we do traffic control points and so forth, we can't always repopulate all those areas. But in that area in particular, that is definitely something close on our radar that we are evaluating. And I would say that in the very few coming days, although it seems like it's been forever and it has been a long time, in 2 weeks, that you'll be seeing repopulation soon.
Timothy on Twitter says, I live right across Dearborn Road and was wondering if it is safe to come back, or is Dearborn Loma Mar area still a threat to the creek side of the Pescadero Creek Road?
So in Loma Mar, the fire has reached down to our control point, which has been the creek. We've been steadily going in and mopping that up. A lot of suppression operations there, and with that, once we render that safe, and we are getting very close to that point, then we'll repopulate. But until then, and we feel comfortable that we're not going to have any sort of extension of the fire or fire crossing that line, again, steep terrain, heavy fuels, we're not going to really reopen that until then. But we are getting very close to that point right now.
For more information regarding the local impact of the Bay Area wildfires here in Cupertino, please visit cupertino.org/2020fires.